Got it.
Hi, everybody. Oh my God, it's been forever.
Yes.
So let's pretend that we have a little theme song or an opening thing. Do 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 do. It's us. We're back.
Are we going to
It's
stick with
been
that from now
forever.
on?
No, I'm pooping it out right now.
I like it.
Oh. But yeah, so we decided that we wanted to do podcasts again, and we have no idea what we're doing. That all of the technology has changed since we've done it, and we're just literally winging it. All we know is that we're starting right now.
Right now.
Yes. So those of you that do not know us, I am Claire, clairvoyant psychic medium, and this is
I am Erica Lane, and that is what I go by.
yes. Um, yeah. Was it 2 years ago or more than 2 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just thinking about that. I want to say it ended like January or February of 2020, like right before the pandemic
Pandemic.
started, basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because in that January, I started Witchy Wednesdays too. So I was
Oh.
so busy and doing podcasts, I probably was like, no.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you were
and
working.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, yeah, and just the pandemic hitting us like changed everything. So it
Yeah.
was just like wild crazy at that time.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna jump into this first session. This is just gonna be a little catch up, and it's not going to be anything like big. We'll probably go into a little bit of astrology later. We have no idea how this podcast will pan out or whatever, but we're hanging out and we're going to talk. We have a tiny little timeline, and that's all we know.
Well, and I think too, just we figured that it would be good to catch you guys up on what's been going on in our life since we've been out of this, and just kind of talk about where we're gonna go from here. And I think that at this point we're both in like a much different place in life to be able
Yeah,
to keep this going now. So
yeah. So, with that said, what have you been doing, Erica, for the past 2 years?
I have to start. Okay. Wow. So, for the last 2 years, I guess when we first stopped doing this podcast was like just crazy, crazy hard time in my life, but good because I was able to overcome a lot of like patterns, I guess, that I'd been repeating for years and years. And I think that, getting into the whole spiritual realm of everything is for sure what started it. However, I've come to realize, you kind of have to become conscious of the things, and then you have to learn how to actually like embody them and bring them down to earth and make them actually happen. So I feel like that is what I've been up to in the last 2 years, and that started with me leaving a very abusive relationship, all the things that came with that, which was a lot, um, as well as, just going back to working in the corporate world, and then trying to go back to working in the social services realm. And I am now in a healthy relationship, and that's actually been about a 2 year journey now as well. Um,
Mm,
I'm Miss
wow.
Relationship, I guess, but that's
Libra
been
rising.
interesting, right? But that's been interesting because there's been a lot of learning to do there when it comes to being in a healthy relationship for once in my life, and a lot of like uncomfortableness that I had to work through with that. Um, and then as well as, I've been raising my kids, of course, and they've been getting older, and COVID was really crazy when it came to even just being a parent, because I went from not really allowing my kid to be on her phone very often to like that was the only way she could keep in touch and communicate with her friends. So that's been a whole learning curve for me, which has also made me feel very old, because now I feel like I am one of those parents that is freaked out by what the young whippersnappers are up to these days. um let's see here. And then, also just with my personal business, I took a big break on doing in-person sessions for that whole 2 years. So everything I was doing was all over like Zoom like this. And I went back to doing a lot of astrology readings, and I am so excited to get back to doing more in-person stuff. It's not that I don't think that it's any less of a session. It's just, I don't know, there's something about being in the energy of someone like in person. It just hits different, I guess. It doesn't hit less or better, but it just hits different. Um, as well as, you know, just like getting into more like holistic coaching that I can use all of my modalities. Cause of course, if you do one thing for so long, you get kind of like burnt out on it. And I feel like that's where I'm at sometimes with astrology. So, yeah, I don't know if you have any follow-up questions or anything. That's it in a nutshell.
No, I think that's awesome. Like, there's a lot of hard stuff. There's a lot of stuff that it was, I mean, it's so weird. And I actually just said this the other day to a client where it's almost as if the pandemic and everything that happened through the whole COVID thing, it's like a syringe was taken and we were all injected with fear. And every single person had it in a different way. So like some people, it was about their job. Some people, it was about their health. Some people, it was about relationships. Some people, it was about money. Some people, what the hell ever. But every single person like had to figure out that journey. And it was hard.
I think a big part of it was that a lot of people got like frozen from their typical lifestyle, and things became more like boring, I guess. You know, like there wasn't as much like lively action and craziness.
Like
and so
entertainment.
yeah, so everybody had to really like sit with themselves.
How do I entertain myself? Oh my God.
Exactly.
Oh, that's my
and
favorite thing to do in the world.
And even like with money and love, right? Because with love, it's like, how it can I sit in the same house with the same person every day?
Yeah.
Well, like, can we quarantine together and make it through this? Because that's, you know, that's a test of how sturdy a relationship can be. And then same with work. It was like, okay, well, either you're like considered non-essential or essential, and there's that whole journey to go through. And then there's also like, okay, well, if you're not essential, what are you going to do now? Like, you know, are you going to like try to work for yourself? Are you going to try to build up your creativity, learn a new skill? Or are you just going to like, you know, so it was just a lot of, everybody had to process, I guess, their forward moving lives. Their whole lives have been so forward moving. They never got the chance to just sit there. So
I loved that part of it.
me too, honestly, me too. How would you describe that part of it for you? Like, what do you think was your big thing that you had to sit with?
I know. Okay, first of all, I need to say there are all kinds of animals now. I am living in this house, so you're going to see and hear all kinds of things. And this is part of the winging it process with our podcast, because I will eventually be in my shed. I will eventually like have sound better and mics, but whatever. Okay. What was my thing? Okay. I think it was a lot to do with honestly just trusting in another person. And like it like love, I guess. Like the fear of what happens if I fully love someone.
And like the commitment, that was a big thing for me
It was
too.
so scary. Yeah. So I've never done that my whole life. Even my parents, like all of that, like I've always been detached from everybody. So that was a really big thing, because once the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, I am going to be paying $2,000 a month, and I have my rent, and like, but I'm not seeing clients. So I had to shut down the studio right away. And like, I found like a little bit of time where I was in Blair, but nobody ever came. I think I only had like 2 people that would come in person. But yeah, me personally being able to sit with myself, like I did that mirror work in that time where I sat in front of the mirror and I was like, who the hell are you, Claire? I've never looked at myself like, you know, what they say, like this side of the camera, like take pictures with that and like whatever, just how you look. I'm so comfortable with myself right now. It is such a cool feeling where before I would always be like, oh, look at that little wrinkle, or oh, look at that. Like I'm constantly, and now I'm just,
Like obsessing over appearance stuff. Yeah,
yeah. So
that's
that was
really
really good. Yeah. I also quit vaping in that time. Vaping nicotine.
I was gonna say as I hit my vape.
Yeah. I still vape. You figured that out. But yeah, no, I think that's a lot what it was for me. And yeah, let me kind of tell you so I can go a little bit more into detail. So let me tell you what I've been doing for the past 2 years. So I have like bullet points in the timeline. So this is how Capricorn my brain is. So in 2020, I moved. Like because I couldn't afford to live in Omaha anymore, I had to like literally tail between my legs, like, Mom, Dad, I need my house back. Please let me move in. I know it's a really long story, but that's how it happened. So got to move into the house. Didn't have rent. I just had to pay for taxes or whatever. So I really got to catch up on, no, I didn't really get to catch up on anything because I barely had any clients. So I was just kind of like maintaining. So what happens when Claire is bored is she accumulates animals. So we have all kinds of ducks and chickens, and they like ducks are having babies, and like, oh my God. So that is moving to Prague. That is like what happened. But in that time also, we had a lot of deaths that happened. So my brother passed away like literally the day that we moved here. And then my aunt passed away like shortly after that, and then both of Cho's dogs died. That was just so hard, and every inch of my being was always like, I do want to come back and go live and do podcasts or do something, but I'm just like, I was not okay. After that year hit, when 2021 came out, I was like, something is wrong with me now. Like there was times where I was laying on the couch and I was seeing a pile of dishes and I was just like, I can't do anything. So I hit my first like real depression that I've ever fully like hit, besides like, after a breakup, you get a little grief depression from that. But like this was a depression. So I'm not sitting here saying like I have depression. It was caused by death. But anyway, so it was a lot. So that caused me to seek out a counselor. Was seeing a counselor for a while. I'm now diagnosed with ADHD and anxiety disorder. I'm on meds and I feel good. And all of 21 was getting used to all those meds, plus me getting used to all of my diabetes meds because everything changed because insurance covered. So that whole year was just hell. It was a whole freaking year, and it was so annoying. So when this year hit, I immediately was like, peace out, going to Ecuador, and went to Ecuador, got married in Vegas. We moved again. Now I'm in a fucking amazing house, 200-year-old house. It was an old doctor's office. It's creepy and it's awesome. Yeah, and then we're gonna be going on our honeymoon soon. So this has been the best year of my life this year. So yeah, that was a lot, but that was, yeah. Any questions? Anything would you like to say?
I just want to say too, it's kind of crazy because I feel like I was almost on a similar pattern in different ways, like it was like everything boom hit me, and then it was like cleaning that all up, and then
Yep.
same thing since, well, I guess 2022 so far has been clean up as well. I probably needed an extra year. but yeah, because I mean, like I remember even talking to you throughout the ADHD thing, and I was also diagnosed with ADHD,
Yeah.
which was actually kind of crazy how it happened to me, because it happened to me because I was disassociating so bad that I got into a car accident. And when that happened, it started to freak me out, and I was like I literally
Wow.
didn't know what was going on until like I made impact with the car, and then I like, thank God I didn't have my kids in the car, but it just really freaked me out.
I
So
did not know that.
you didn't? Okay.
Wow.
Okay, well then here's a cool story. So then I went to a neurologist, right? Like the person that does brain stuff, because that's immediately what I thought. And she did, and now I'm not going to remember the name of the test that she did but whatever it was insane. Like I had to go in, they put like little patches like all over my head. And then like, I'm assuming it was like monitoring my brain waves and stuff. And when she came back from that, she was like, you don't have any brain damage. I'm like, hell yeah. And then she's like, but I really think you have ADHD. Like she's like, your brain is like overdrive crazy. And if that's happening, it could be like almost like, the way I like to think of it is like if there's too much going on, it gets to the point of just like it's all still going on, but you're not even conscious that it's going on anymore. You're just kind of like blinked out, you know? But that was cool. And that led me, I started doing therapy after that. And that's kind of cool because we also have both went through that.
We're
with
both
the EMDR.
Aquariuses.
Yeah. we both have, you know, struggle figuring out our emotions and what the hell's going on with us. But yeah, I started seeing a therapist and she's been doing EMDR with me this whole time.
When Mabel's barking, okay? So
okay,
sorry.
That's fine.
I'm just putting...
No, you're okay. But yeah, I think that that's been helpful as well because that's really helped me like reprogram. I think it's like once I got into the whole theme of reprogramming things, like it's so hard to like put it into words if you could see what goes on in my brain when this happens, but it's basically just reprogramming and reconditioning, realizing like how many things that you do on a day-to-day basis are remnants of your history, you know. As soon as you unmute. But yeah, so highly recommend EMDR if you've ever had trauma.
Yeah, I'm doing that now with my trauma therapist. And it's hard. It's so hard. So yeah, it's not like oh yay, we're fixed. It's like oh we did some EMDR and now I'm on the couch for 2 days because I am just
and processing. It's like a lot of processing.
With so many emotions. Ugh.
To me, it's cool though. It's like it's kind of like those epiphanies, like, you know, and you're just having them more often. That's what it feels like to me, where I'm just like, aha, I've been doing that all this time because of this reason, and now I can stop doing it. Yay. You know, like that kind of stuff.
It is cool. It is. I think it's like, it's probably like the Pisces in me that's just like, it's just so much work though, and I hate it.
That's been one thing I've been reconditioning too, though, is like how exhausting mental work is. I never really gave it much credit, I guess. Like I always thought like if I wasn't doing a physical labor job 8 hours a day, I had no right to be exhausted. But if I've been using this noggin up here for 8 hours a day, like no, that can still, thinking burns calories. So there's proof that that's true.
Yeah. I actually had a conversation with a client today where I'm talking to her about how, like, she's from a small town. She grew up on a farm. You know, you work hard for what you get and you will sweat and it is going to suck and you will make money that way. You know, like I totally have grew up that way too. Like however you make money, you're not going to like how you're going to get it, you know? And I had to completely reprogram to just be like, no, it's easy. Money comes to me easy. I can get it, whatever. I can be laying in bed now and doing a Zoom call with my client. Like I have designed now, because of the pandemic, it to be even easier. So yeah, it does not have to be like that. I guess I just needed to shit that out. So I don't know why I went on.
No, that's awesome. I feel like that's basically the gist of it, right? It's like they're and that's what we do with life coaching. Even they're limiting beliefs. It's like any kind of, and you don't even really realize it's your belief until you realize that your actions are kind of based on your beliefs. So you might not want to admit you believe something to be a certain way, but your actions are showing that. So that's like, you know, a whole nother,
whole nother pie, whole nother slice of pie. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so next thing is, what are we doing now? What are you up to? What is going on in your life?
Well, okay, so I'm gonna think about where to start. So I feel like I'm at a healing point journey now too, where I'm coming out of my shell. I have spent the last couple of years. Well, I actually want to kind of like rephrase, maybe is the word I'm looking for. The first year too of COVID, I felt like for the first time in my life, I actually got to have fun. Like I spent a lot of time feeling guilty about how I lived that year. Um, but truthfully, like I had a ton of fun. I was at the beach all the time. I was hanging out with people all the time. Like it was just a lot of excitement and fun and memorable memories, right? But then and I never really got that because I had my kids at 19 and I've had to work full time since then. But when the pandemic hit at first, I was able to take that time off of work, you know? And so that was great, and I really learned a lot from that time. Now I feel like I am at a time frame where I had to do a lot of healing over the last year, and in order to do so I had to really like seclude myself from people, and that made it easier for me to differentiate all of the relationships in my life and like which ones I want to actually put energy into and which ones are not worth my energy, basically. I mean, I guess that's the best way to sum it up. And so now I feel like I'm at a point where I'm getting back out there and I'm getting back to the relationships that do matter to me. And I have now that I've gotten rid of the bad ones, right? I have free room for more to come in. And I'm excited about that. Like, who's going to take that spot? Who knows? It'll be cool to find out. Um, and then business wise, I feel like I took everything to a whole nother level with this human design thing. Like I'm obsessed about it at this point. I've been
Guys, it's amazing. It's mind blowing.
And it's like, I think we think it's mind blowing, which I actually thought about that. We think it's mind blowing because we feel just as mind blown by this as we did when we learned Reiki,
Astrology.
or as we did when we learned, when we learned about astrology or tarot or all the things, right? But I feel like human design is like putting it all in like this nice, pretty package that really just kind of like, it brings it all together and brings it to a whole nother level of depth. And I think it's the level of depth that it's almost like you're still searching for when you are doing things like astrology and all the things, right? So I'm really excited about that. I'm also really excited about doing life coaching because I know that I've designed a whole program from like start to finish of how it's going to work. I want to evolve people. That's my whole thing. So, I guess I like have set it up to where we can get a foundation. We have things to work on at every session and just keep evolving and growing. And so I am so excited to be able to offer that now and and get some what's the word I'm looking for? A community, basically, right? I want to build it into a community where everybody's helping each other. And also I just recently gained my own studio space at a place. So I'm in Fremont, Nebraska, and there is a downtown that's like 2 blocks away from where I live, which is even cooler because I've learned how to longboard over the last couple of years. So I can like be that cool, crazy witch lady on my longboard, you know, like cruising downtown to my Reiki space. Yeah, so I'm so excited to see people in person there again. And to do this podcast even is super awesome. And my romantic relationship is super awesome. And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for this coming weekend with you and everyone, and even having Bailey back here is going to be awesome. So yeah, good stuff for now, for what I'm up to now.
Yay. Oh, no, that's all good. Is it really annoying? Can you like really hear me?
I think it's fine. They're gonna bark.
Sure well, yeah, here. I need, you know what? Hang on. I'm gonna do something.
Okay.
1 minute. Come here.
I guess too, like, well, she's out of the frame, just to say when it comes to doing future podcasts, we want to leave it really open and free form. So if you guys want to send us any topic suggestions or anything, that is something we're looking for. Sorry, Claire. I was just kind of trying to talk while you were.
Yeah, because I was awkward and left. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're okay.
No, if I lock them out of my bedroom, then they can't go in there and they can't bark right there. So they'll probably go downstairs. So hope that works.
It's fine.
Yeah, you were saying that we want suggestions and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Just kind of throwing that out there too, that in the future we want to leave a really open form and we want to have fun with it. And I think that this is the coolest way to do it because you get us in our like authentic way, right?
Yeah.
So, but if there is anything you guys want us to like talk about or research, we would also love that because we both love to do that. So
Yes. Yeah.
anyway, what are you up to now, Claire?
Okay, what I'm doing now is I am married. That's so weird. I always forget to wear my rings. I just took it off though. It's done. I'm married, so that has been a whole new little life and whatever that I've been navigating. Living with Cho and sharing life with Cho, it is awesome. It's a good time. It's frustrating. Being in a relationship is frustrating, but I'm having a good time. Yeah. So, and I have like a whole freaking farm here. I have 34 birds. I don't know how that
That is
happened.
so crazy.
It just like that's how many I have. So, because it was in the middle
How many
of like
did you start out with?
11. And
So
they
all of these are babies, like offspring.
No.
Oh.
So we only have 3 left of the 11, 2 chickens and 1 duck. So there was a lot of death that has happened. And we, yeah. So we kind of figured out how to do it, how to keep them safe and what we need to be like, whatever. So we're good now. They moved over here fine. Everything is okay, except for every single day I have to go chase down the ducks and put them back in the pen, and because they all like to leave. And then we have 1 chicken, Ethel. She's an OG one. She just does whatever the hell she wants to. But that's my whole like life. I really have a lot to do with taking care of all of them. We have 2 dogs. I have Mabel, which everyone should remember because I made a ginormous big deal about her. And then poor Tatum gets the 3rd child syndrome because Chucky was the first, and he was crazy, my cat. And now Tatum is just like, oh, we have another puppy. Yeah, that's her. And then when we moved in here, because this is my parents' house, this was not my childhood house. They have been living here for about 7-ish or 8-ish years or something like that. They left their cat, so that's one of them. That is, I think we're gonna name it Billy or Binks. I don't know. We're changing the name because I'm not gonna tell you what the name was before. It's terrible. Yeah. So that's. And I have been allowing myself to have a lot more fun now, like traveling and finally going places again. And oh God, that feels so good. So that has been a lot this year. And I've also been allowing myself to not do a lot, like rest a lot because I need it. That, and then as far as my business, I'm still doing Sweet 98 every witchy Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Yep, I love doing that. I'm gaining a lot of business, a lot of people from all over, like Lincoln, Omaha, Council Bluffs, whatever. It's so fun I love that. I love the medium part of my life because it's so adventurous and like whatever. And then I, of course, have my shed still. So the shed was moved to this house now. So I am an acre away from my old house, and my old house has a shed next to it, and now I just moved the shed up here. So now we're getting plumbing and doing all of that because we didn't do plumbing before because we ran out of money and everything's crazy. And so whatever. We're figuring it all out. That's life. And as far as my sessions and everything right now at this moment, since I have moved, so since August, I have been pretty much doing everything online, Zoom, phone, whatever. I do have a couple clients that come in person. Yeah, it's just because they live close and they're older and yeah, whatever. So that I don't want a lot of people in my
Not
house.
special treatment, you guys.
Yeah, it isn't special treatment because I really don't. That's why I got the shed. I don't want people in my house.
No,
Like,
I get it. Yeah, I get it. That's kind of why I actually didn't even really think about getting a studio space until it kind of fell on my lap. And then I was like, actually, this makes sense. I need a way to disconnect.
separate.
Like even if I am doing only online stuff, I would still rather do it somewhere outside of my house, So
exactly. Like this, if I could do this in the shed, we would not be having to deal with all this bullshit. Yeah. It would, to have your own, like, you go to work, I'm going to work, So.
It's the work energy. Yeah, exactly. And it's also keeping, all of your clients' energies and everything away from your home life, which is not saying that we don't like your energy or anything. It's just that we absorb it all, So we need some time. We need a way to disconnect from all of your guys' stuff so we can figure out what is our stuff, right?
To be able to, like, be done with work, come home, and lay on the couch. That is going to feel so much better than now. Like, it's all just mixed and meshed together, and it's so hard to
because it's hard to relax. Because when you're doing it out of your house, it's always in your face and it's always in your energy. So it's kind of hard to just be like, I won't check that message or I won't reply to that email or whatever.
Yep. So that's in the future, Claire is going to be, I really want to be doing something with retreats. So if that is like me working with the people that I know here in Nebraska doing retreats, I already have like the lineup and figuring out to do it in Colorado, and we can do one in Ecuador and whatever. It's going to happen. That is going to be a future part, but like, it'll get there when it gets there. It's just not whatever. And then I have a little small, the journey. And then plus, like, my shed is also going to be like a little mini retreat. So like my clients, once everything is up and running and fine, once a year, if they want to, they can have a weekend in the shed. Just be like, yep, go. I'll feed you breakfast. You can get your Reiki treatment while you're here. You can relax, hang out with all of my 34 birds, and watch me yell at my dog all the time.
I'm just gonna say it out loud too. Like, the area that you live in would just be so cool and perfect if we could end up just starting one of our own eventually, if I can get moved out there too. And I mean, I don't know, I just see that kind of whole picture in my head, and it sounds great. And I don't know how we're gonna advertise Nebraska as a great vacation spot, but we'll figure it out.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't, like, that isn't the thing. Like, you are coming to disconnect and to get treatment from us or whoever,
True.
And that's it.
Yeah, you're not here to sightsee for sure.
Yeah, you don't need to leave. You just can come, and you can either be working on yourself, or you can be reading a book, you can be whatever, doesn't matter. Or we can hang out. I like hanging out with people. And if you're my client, I obviously love hanging out with you. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm going towards, and actually how weirdly coincidental that we're starting this today. Like, I just had something in me where I'm like, I got to go to the bank. I got to figure this out, whatever, because I contacted a plumber. I finally got like a bid on how to figure everything out, like to finish the shed. And everything is weirdly like working out. So I took those steps today to do that, and we're like one step closer. So yeah, I'm excited to be able to right now, like there's been a couple times in my life where I felt this, and this is one of them. So that's kind of cool that you're a part of it, Erika. But like, it's the, like, down the road, looking back at this episode, and we're going to be like, wow.
That's so crazy. You said, I was actually thinking the same thing about in the middle of this, of where we've been so far. And I'm like, I don't know. I just think it's cool that we've always kept this mentality that we're always growing, we're always learning, and we're always changing. So we know that, we know that. And it's cool that when we stay consistent about this, we're going to you guys are going to get an unfiltered, like raw, authentic expression of that growth and see that for yourselves, because
and
and I think
hopefully it helps, then they can learn
yeah.
from it. And
And I think that's, that's been a huge conclusion that I've come to over this whole 2-year span as well, is that the more that I can just be open about everything that I've been through, the more that that's helping someone else that's in that same spot, and yeah, I think we'll always be there with someone. Everybody is going through, infinite
something.
amount of complex things. Yeah. And
Yeah.
me and you have been through our fair share of very complex things and gotten out of it and figured it out. And I think that that's a superpower that we have that we should for sure share with everyone.
Yeah.
Rosie Riveter shit.
Riot. Isn't it Rosie Riot?
I thought it was Riveter.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
The pinup girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually thinking too, you were talking about Cho and getting married, and also everything that I've been through in relationships. And it is Venus in Libra time frame. It's also Libra season in general. And we're also gonna have Mercury going back into Libra as well. Maybe we could talk to end our first podcast. What do you think makes a healthy relationship? Like, what do you think we've learned throughout this journey about relationships?
Communication, like hands down. Even if you are so fucking pissed off at the person, or so uncomfortable, or you know nothing about it, or your ego is getting shit on, what the hell ever, you have to talk through everything.
Yep.
That's my biggest.
Communication. And that's something I've even noticed with you and Cho's dynamic. Like, it's more quick now. You guys kind of just spit it out, say what you feel, and move on, and that I think that you can attest that is much, much more peaceful than like some weird thing happening, right? And you obsess over it for 2 days in your own head, trying to dissect it, figure it out, you're trying to figure out what they're thinking. Like, that makes any sense. Just to have some stupid solution anyway. Like, it was all just not worth your time.
Yeah.
As to where if you just say it, like, yeah, it sucks at first, but then you get somewhere out of that. You get some movement,
It's also a bad thing that I have learned that superpower-ish whatever, because this has caused me to now have even less of a filter. Because like, even when I'm in, like, let's say I'm in public, this has happened. I'm at the post office and this person is deciding to just be like a complete icky guy, and like he was looking me up and down and like I think he said like, oh, I don't, there was no compliment in it, but I don't remember the exact words, but basically he said like, oh, those are pants. Like, he said that. And I was wearing my like Aladdin pants, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, congratulations. You know what pants are. And like, I am quick now, like, whereas before, because I have Capricorn and Mercury, I usually like really think, I have a fucking list, like, that's how I am. But when it comes to my feelings, Aries moon, yes, but I've learned to chill that shit out. But yeah, I don't have a fucking filter anymore. So yeah, there's that.
Which is interesting. That's interesting too, because I feel like mine has been like the opposite battle, right? Like, mine has been trying to learn how to be more assertive, is basically, I guess, the word for it. Like, I have sucked with that my entire life. So that's been the same 2-year journey for me too, is like, and same with relationships. I think that was a big part of it, was learning how to talk. And a lot of that's limiting beliefs too, because I think a lot of the times you stop yourself from communicating because you start to come up with assumptions on what you think the other person is going to think about what you have to say, or all the things your family told you that you shouldn't say, or you should shut up about. Man,
and
that's
a lot of clients
of work.
I have so many clients that will be like, I'm not going to talk about it because it's just going to be a fight. Yeah, you need to fight.
And
you
actually,
need to do it.
After getting out of the abusive relationship that I was in, man, I could say like a whole lot about that, but that is so true. If you feel that scared to tell someone what you feel, like if it literally like triggers like your root chakra fight or flight response, that's because that relationship is abusive. Like I'm sorry if that's like controversial, but hands down, like you should not feel like, yes, you're gonna feel uncomfortable. Like I can explain the
Yeah.
difference. Like in my healthy relationship, yes, I will feel uncomfortable because I'm not used to it, because most of the relationships in my life were very toxic and didn't give me space and room to breathe and say how I felt. But the uncomfortable feeling is much different than the all out like fear, scared.
Trigger.
How is this person going to react to
Yeah.
what I say? But I mean, you know that, right? Because if a person reacts in an abusive way, there you go. There's your sign. Of course, you're going to feel scared.
See,
Is
I
it
just
just
needed to close
Mabel?
that door. Yeah, Tatum is over there, but you're gonna start to hear her snore now.
Sound asleep. But yeah, I think
um,
it's a whole different feeling. Like yes, if it's uncomfortable that you're starting a fight, like what is that fight? Is it like everybody saying how they really feel and getting upset, or is it like people are going off and getting drunk or hitting you or calling you names or gaslighting you? I mean, they're that's two
yeah,
totally separate
you got to look
worlds.
at it from yourself. Like, are you triggered? Is that why you don't like fighting? Because your parents used to fight all the time. Okay, so you got to go into this now relationship and have a good fight, a normal constructive fight without being triggered like you're a little kid. And that is your job. That is all on you.
I read this book called Games People Play. If you guys ever want to check out that book, it's a pretty good book. It was written by a psychologist like way back in the day. So it's weird because it's like outdated, but yet it still actually aligns with a lot of like modern scientific psychology facts that we know. But it's basically what you just said. It's saying that we all have three different like egoic modes that we can be in, and being like the adult is when we're like in the present moment. So like even as a kid you can still be an adult, right? Because you're just, that just basically means you're in the present moment. Or you can have your child ego state, which is when you are being triggered back into the mode that you would
Wow.
play when you were being parented. And then you also have the parent ego, which is when you were triggered into that mode that your parents played when you were a child. So as in the present moment in your adult life, as you are interacting with people, they will say certain things or do certain things that will trigger
Pause.
you into
I
those.
got I don't understand the parent one. Is it like
Okay,
if
okay.
I was a parent, is that why I'm not understanding it?
So no, because it's not healthy. Like you as a parent, healthy would be your adult state still. So
Okay.
think back to like if someone came to you with a problem and you acted as if your mother did when someone came to her with, or when you went to her with a problem. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, so it's just things that I learned from her, but it's not
Exactly.
me as little
It's not
Claire.
you. Correct.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay,
So
okay,
then
okay.
it would be like, it would
Sorry, I
almost
had
be
to
like,
understand
no, that's
that.
okay. It would almost be like if you ask someone for help, if you're like, hey, will you do the dishes? And then if they would either get triggered, like let's say that statement triggered them into their parent mode, they might say like, it's your turn
Fuck
to do the
off.
dishes, or
Oh.
yeah, that kind of reaction though, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or they might go down in their child one and like throw a baby fit about it, or just refuse to or pout or whatever. So yeah, it was really interesting reading that
Wow.
too, because it made me aware of how when I was getting back into the social work scheme, there was a lady who was like a lot like my mother, and she was really bringing out a lot of triggers in me, and I think that was the whole reason I had that job. Like that's it, it was just so I could have that interaction with that lady and
Huh.
start learning how I'm being triggered, right? And which
Yeah.
is actually kind of why I took the job in the first place, was to
Yeah.
practice being assertive. Um, but it got easier to become assertive when I became consciously aware of how I was reacting in the moment to different triggers, basically. And now it's easier because I can watch out for them and I'm not so like shocked by them. I know that they're
Mhm.
there. And I think that's like, damn, that's like it right there, even in relationships. What makes a healthy relationship? I think a lot of it is also being self-aware. right? It's being
Oh
aware.
my God. And
Yeah.
having like a relationship with yourself. Didn't you post something like that
I
today?
did just today. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
What
said
was that?
your relationship to yourself directly determines your relationship to your entire life,
Mm,
including the people, including everything and everyone, right? Because
yes.
if you
If
have
you
all of
think
these
like
limiting
you're sorry,
no,
I'm
it's
being an
no, I
asshole.
think you're getting ready to say what I was just gonna say though, so go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I was gonna simplify it a shit ton to just say, if you think that you are shit, everything else is shit. Like, and that's not good. Like, I see that in so many people's relationships and stuff. Like, you don't like yourself, so everything else is not going to flow. You have a lot of work to do with that.
And like, you
Yeah,
know how we'll always say, like, do I have like a sign on my forehead that says treat me like shit? Well, in an energetic sense, if
you
you
do.
think shit of yourself, yeah, you really do. Yeah. You are basically letting everyone around you know that you don't care.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I think that that's the hardest one because we can't control another person.
Exactly. And I think that goes back to, the relationship with the self again though too, because since you realize you can't control what other people do, all you do have control over is how you react to what they do.
Yeah.
Um and that can make a world of difference on another person, right?
Oh yeah.
Um and maybe it won't, and that's okay, because that's been one thing I guess I've had to settle myself on too, like uh that's being that codependent like fixer kind of energy, and just being like, I probably won't fix 90% of the people in my life, and that's okay. And honestly, most of the time when you fix yourself, it's through direct experience anyway. And maybe those
Mhm.
things that I said, or those times that I did help or whatever, will be triggered when they're faced with that direct experience, and that might make it all worth it, right? So
Mhm. Sorry, Mabel distracted me.
okay, it's getting comfy.
Oh, yeah. Woo. Okay. I think we've talked. I think we're good.
Yeah, we updated on where we've been, where we're going, and we talked a little bit about
Future.
astrology and relationships. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just astrology wise, I guess let's say like the gist of it this weekend we have a full moon in Aries.
It's your moon.
I'm having my little bachelorette party this weekend with everybody over, and I'm so excited. It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
Wow. And
So,
actually, now that I think about it too, that Aries full moon is perfect energy for this whole assertive thing we were just talking about. So,
oh yeah,
yeah.
huh? When is the full moon? Is it on Sunday?
So I actually, that's what I just did was pull up
Okay. So
my
guys,
little chart
I'm
thing.
so rusty with astrology and stuff lately. Ugh, I don't even know what
So
to look at anymore because everything is disorganized in my life right now.
actually, okay. So October 9th,
Okay, so Sunday, yeah.
Sunday. Yep. Yep. So that'll be the full moon in Aries. And then we have I was gonna say, yep, Pluto will also be out of retrograde at that point.
Yes.
But
Whoa.
the full moon is gonna be conjuncting Chiron. So
So what does that mean?
um to say assertive is a big word for that one, is like underplaying it still. This is like
But
healing.
it's with your wounds.
And these wounds are very like core identity wounds, right? It's
Whoa.
like, yeah, it's how you perceive yourself. It's yourself, right? So which triggers ego stuff, right? And that's some of the darkest shit we as humans deal with. So it'll be interesting, but it'll be good. It'll be healing. It's a healing moon.
We're gonna have to scream at the moon. Okay.
And I think too, like any kind of like any kind of like self identity type of stuff that you're wanting to get rid of would be also a great time for this full moon. So like, I don't
Oh,
like, let's say you're like, I'm tired of seeing myself as poor, or I'm tired of seeing myself as tired, or whatever it is, like however you see yourself that's pissing you off, time to get rid of it.
let it go.
Let
Yeah.
it go.
No, that's awesome. I think that, yeah. So that's the big moon that's coming, and then Pluto goes direct. Other than that, I think that, yeah, Libra season, yay, lovey, spooky, spoopy season.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I've been watching scary movies every single day. Dahmer was amazing. I could talk about it. So the lady at the eye doctor today, I had to go to the eye doctor, and this is so funny. We're going off on tangents, whatever. Okay, so the insurance that I have, whatever, she like stacked these like 4 trays of, or there's only 3 of glasses in front of me, and they're all the girl glasses, you know, like pink and bleh, you know, and I'm just like, I was like, this is it. This is all I could choose from. These are all small. And she's like, okay, well, you can look at the men's. And I was like, okay, let's see this. And so we saw the men's. I got these fucking Dahmer huge glasses with the like thing across, you know, like just like
You
Dahmer.
can't show them right now, can you? Because they got to get shipped to you.
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
I got to go pick them up when they're ready. But
Oh, okay.
oh my God, I'm so excited about that. But the girl, I was like, these are some Dahmer glasses. And she's like, oh, did you watch that? I was like, yeah, of course I watched that. And I watched it immediately. And she's like, yes, I love Evan Peters. I was like, oh my God, me too. He is like seriously an amazing human being. And I have liked him ever since the first season of American Horror Story with the house one where he's Tate. That's why Tatum is Tatum. I originally wanted her to be a boy and be Tate. So I changed it to Tatum from Scream, the girl with the big boobs.
I remember him in American Horror Story catching my eye too, and it actually took me painfully long to figure out that was the same guy in Dahmer.
Oh yeah, you
like
said
I
that.
was,
That's
because
so
I
weird
wasn't,
to me.
yeah, I wasn't that.
I was all about it.
I didn't really know him from anything else, I guess. You know, so
I guess I totally like live in the serial killer world, so I was like, I already knew about all of this.
It's so weird too, because I feel like I haven't really cared too much about serial killers per se, but I found watching the Dahmer series like was really intriguing, like from a psychological standpoint.
I know, that's why I love listening to serial killer stuff. I love to learn about, because yeah, that was you and my friend Emily were like talking about that on my post today or whatever, the Dahmer thing. But people are mad because it's like glorifying it and the victims aren't getting, no. The victims, they get their shine. Yes. Oh my God, he did absolutely terrible things. But why? I want to know why, and I want to learn about it, and I want to understand it, and I want to see it.
Well, and I think that touched on a really important thing too, just to say, is this whole don't look at the killer, or like don't look at the perpetrator, or don't give them any attention, shove that under the rug, you know, that kind of just perpetrates that whole, that's what makes the serial killers, when we all try to like suppress it and ignore it, and that's why they do the things they do, because they need someone to shine a light on them before they go out and murder people, which is what that series depicted so brilliantly well, like how ignored this man was. That's how he got away with like he was just, the universe just kept pushing him right into like trap after trap, I guess, you know, it was crazy.
Well, it's a lot like Bundy too, like with Ted Bundy, just because he's an average white guy and he was kind of good looking, like got away with everything.
Yep.
Oh, everything is so fascinating to me. I love all of that.
And it did touch on that too, with like the racial and the LBG stuff, or LGBTQ stuff. Because that's another thing that's why do you think you don't really see serial killers in those groups, you know? Doesn't really happen very often, because they don't get away with that like everyone else does. They are watched by the system very closely, you know, in comparison. So I love Saturn and Aquarius, which is also kind of what started this whole pandemic era anyway. So that's another thing I've been going through this last 2 years. is my Saturn return. And I love that for it, that we're all shining lights on societal issues that need to be looked at, and that we're all trying to morph things into a better future for everyone, not just a select few.
Yes. Okay, we should stop talking now. Okay, so we're going to be doing this probably once a week. We don't know. We'll figure it out. But until next time, thank you for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Maybe you should check out all of our websites. clairvoyantsmedium.com is mine. You can look us both up on Facebook.
Yep, mine's ericablaine333.com. And then, yeah, also on Facebook.
Yeah.
I think, too, if we upload, are we... Well,
I'll put
okay,
something together. Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, guys.